So in this video, we're going to be going through what it means to boost your immune system. Incredibly popular, more so during seasonal changes. So whether it's during the springtime, when we're coming into the spring from the winter, or when we're going from the fall, or autumn into the winter season. So when asking students and clients, or the clients will say, just freely give you that information. Oh, I'm boosting my immune system with vitamin C, with zinc, and then I take colloidal silver if I get an infection. And some clients will say that they've been taking vitamin D for years and they haven't even taken a break. Now, the idea of boosting any system, and especially in this case, the immune system, is actually not scientifically, holistically, naturopathically correct, because you cannot boost one system without supporting other systems. And I go through that in another video, as in what is a system and what other systems do we actually rely on. So like, for example, with the immune system, we rely on the digestive system heavily to actually support the immune system. We heavily rely on the nervous system in order to support the immune system. We heavily rely on the cardiovascular system to support the immune system. So there's all these other systems that we need to ensure that we are nurturing and nourishing as we support the immune system, as we nurture and nourish the immune system. So people will say, I take echinacea during the winter season, or I actually, make sure that I've increased my vitamin C levels and my zinc levels. And sometimes you can get these supplements that have a vitamin C with zinc and other minerals in there that you can add to water and then drink it. This is not actually naturopathically, holistically correct. So I'll go through why, but bear that in mind when we're looking at a system. It never works on its own. The body is not divided into parts. Every system is interconnected with other systems. Okay, so if you are looking at generally an immune system, anybody's immune system, what if that immune system is already hypervigilant? For example, unfortunately, autoimmune conditions are increasing, and I have many clients that have autoimmune conditions, and they usually come to see me because of a diagnosis of an autoimmune condition, and they want to help themselves. Some of them might already be on medications, other people may not be on medications, but let's look at it. Just let's look at what if the immune system is hypervigilant. Okay, so for example, in the case of eczema, now that's an immune system, okay, condition, but it's expressed on the skin. So the immune system is also on the skin. So in another video, I go through, where is this immune system? Is it hiding in one part of the body? Is it just in the lymph nodes? Is it in the cardiovascular system? Is it in your brain? Where is this so-called immune system? So again, eczema is an example that this immune system is actually manifesting in a hyperactive form on the skin. And then we've got Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune thyroid condition. Celiac disease, another autoimmune condition of the gut. Now, what happens in these cases? So imagine you've got these conditions and you are boosting the immune system. That is not the way the body works. What we really want to look at is how can we nourish and support the immune system. So I've put here, most autoimmune conditions are treated with medications that calm the immune system. They don't boost it. So medications such as that can reduce inflammation and that further prevent the damage of tissue. So for example, you've got an autoimmune condition like eczema, it will be treated with steroids. Now, what do steroids do? They suppress the immune system. They don't boost the immune system. It's trying to dampen down the overactivity of the immune system. So by giving steroids, we also actually then sort of inhibit the production of certain chemicals that are inflammatory. So if eczema is an inflammatory condition, overproduction of inflammatory chemicals by the body, for example, cytokines, which I go through in another video, that makes sense because you want to reduce the inflammation, but we're not addressing actually supporting or balancing the immune system. Why has the immune system become hypervigilant? And then we have a drug called methotrexate. Now, methotrexate is an incredibly powerful medication, which is really a chemotherapy medication. It actually blocks the synthesis of DNA. So it blocks the cells from replicating. So I've put here methotrexate blocks certain immune cells from dividing and making new cells. And why is that? Because methotrexate is used for certain conditions like rheumatoid arthritis. Now, taking methotrexate can be incredibly helpful because what that will do is prevent further tissue damage. And you can get tissue damage when you've got an immune system that is just running and running and it has no sort of sense of control or balance. So methotrexate, unfortunately, also has severe side effects, and therefore anybody taking methotrexate will generally have their blood test done regularly to make sure that the liver has not been compromised or the function of the liver is not being compromised. So these are ways that traditional medicine impacts the immune system, and it's not boosting it, it is doing the opposite. It's suppressing the immune system. Okay, so if we just think about that, so we just sort of step back a bit, what are we doing when we're boosting the immune system? And this is not just about people who have got autoimmune conditions. We still want to nourish and nurture the immune system, whether we have an autoimmune condition or not. We don't want to boost the immune system or boost any system for that matter. So here's a clinical trial that was done, okay, and it was done in humans. And what they used was a monoclonal antibody. So they're looking at a particular drug that's a monoclonal antibody, and the effect of this in humans, it was done in animals also, but in animals there was no effect that was what we consider severe side effect. But what happened is this monoclonal antibody was actually originally intended to be used in autoimmune diseases and cancers. Why? To stimulate T cells. Okay, they're a particular type of cells that I go through again in another video, which then are, I suppose, kind of regulated, okay, in such a way that they're stimulated and to help autoimmune conditions and, for example, cancers. So what happened? They used six healthy male volunteers that each received a very low dose of this particular monoclonal antibody, TGN 1412. And unfortunately, within minutes, all of them developed a rapid and severe systemic inflammatory response, which is known as the cytokine storm. And you might have heard of the cytokine storm in relation to COVID. So that's when the immune system kind of like overreacts and it can create more inflammation and severe side effects. So the clinical outcome with the volunteers, what they found was they suffered multi-organ failure with symptoms including high fever, vomiting, severe pain, vascular leakage, diarrhea, and swelling. And all required intensive critical care and organ support. And some actually suffered lasting health effects, so long-lasting health effects. So what was the actual key finding? Which was basically that the trial showed that even a very small dose of this particular monoclonal antibody TGN1412 could actually cause massive immediate immune activation in humans, a reaction that, as I mentioned, was not actually predicted by animal testing. So in other words, it was not seen in animals. And I've given the link here for further reading on this trial. So what does it mean to boost immunity? We have to be incredibly mindful. Now, this is a monoclonal antibody, it's a drug, and it's incredibly powerful. But what are we doing when we're boosting the immune system long term with supplements where we don't really do these tests long term? So we have to ask that question. Is it not better to nurture and nourish the immune system versus stimulating it? So in this case, this particular clinical trial actually highlighted the dangers of first time in humans, the trials of powerful immunomodulatory, meaning modulating the immune system. So drugs that modulate the immune system, especially those that actually stimulate the immune system. It directly led to tighter regulatory oversight and safer phase 1 study protocols worldwide, thankfully. So that's just a study, one study to show the impact of trying to stimulate the immune system. So what happens in the winter? I'm going to give you an example now to help you through the winter. Okay, one thing that you can do to help yourself through the winter. But in order for you to do this, okay, people know this. You've read it, you've heard about it. But what I want to explain now is why would you do this particular lifestyle change or lifestyle habit to actually support your immune system and not boost it. Okay, so that will be in the next video.